Sumeet Vyas, welcome to CNN News 18.
Hi, Vishal. How are you?
Very good, Sumit. Sumit, first, congratulations for delivering a powerful performance in this week's release, Afwaah. You play the role of Vicky Bana. Now, the film got a thumbs up by everyone from critics and
Yes.
the audiences. Are you happy with the kind of love that is pouring for your performance and for the film?
Yeah, I mean, more so for the film, because I always believe that if the film works, if the story works, then everything else works, then everything falls into place. So I'm very glad that, people are receiving the film exactly how we hoped for them to receive it. It was a satire. It was the kind of film that starts a conversation when you're sitting around people, uh, and that's happening. So that's a good sign.
Now, Sumit, you are a much loved and revered actor. You have a dedicated legion of fans. Many youngsters follow you. They loved you in your roles in series like Permanent Roommates and Tripling.
Yes.
What made you say yes to this role, which actually have shades of grey or actually a negative character?
Hmm.
Do you think these days labeling an actor as a villain or only a comedian has gone?
I do think so. I mean, I do feel this is right now the best time for artists in general, right? Whether you're an actor or a musician, or because the audience is willing to experiment. The audience likes it when you try something new and when you're experimenting with your craft. They appreciate it. Back in the day, they had very staple requirements from artists. Like a Johnny Walker, if he suddenly did a very sober part, I don't know how he would have been received back in the day. But in today's day and age, they really appreciate it. So this is the time for artists that they must do. They must flourish and they must experiment, and for an actor especially, I mean the whole trip is to be someone that you're not. To have that out of body experience, to experience this, to think differently, to breathe differently. That's the trip that we love doing, and I got to do a lot of it back in the day when I used to do theater, but I didn't get to do that much for camera, and I'm glad I'm getting an opportunity to do that.
What was it that about this character and this film that attracted you the most?
Oh, one was Sudhir Mishra. I've always been a fan of his work. I think he's one of the only few filmmakers who tackles this genre of satire very well. क्योंकि एक जमाने में सटायर की वैल्यू होती थी। हमारे अखबारों में कार्टूनिस्ट होते थे, वो पॉलिटिकल सिचुएशन पे सटायर करते थे, and people in power would appreciate that, appreciate a jibe, you know. So we come from that time, and that has sort of changed, you know. शरद जोशी होते थे जो सटायर लिखते थे। अब वो जॉनरा जो है वो धीरे धीरे वो कहीं ना कहीं खोता जा रहा है। शायद लोग डरते हैं, या सोशल मीडिया का जो प्रेशर है, या लोग नाराज होने को इतने तैयार हैं कि लोग सटायर करने से थोड़ा घबराते हैं। सो आई थिंक ही इज वन ऑफ द फ्यू people who knows how to do it, because you have to be very intelligent, you have to be very precise when you make a satire. It shouldn't go on either side of the rope. You have to walk on a very thin rope. So that made me say yes to it immediately. There's no question about it.
This film has a lot of politics in it.
Yes.
But purely as an actor and performer, according to you, can an actor be political?
I mean, the actor is as political as every citizen of a democracy should be. I do feel that. I do feel it's healthy to have an opinion. But one should be wary of whether one is expressing an opinion because they want to have an effect, or do they really feel that strongly about something, you know.
Very
So if
political?
I am, I do watch a lot of politics. I do read a lot about it, but I don't necessarily feel the need to have and express my opinion all the time. I do feel that when I do get affected by something, I do like to read about it, really absorb it fully, and then say something, especially on a public platform. I don't think it's wise to just, hear something and immediately say and react on it. That's exactly what the film is all about. या आप एक चीज देखते हैं या पढ़ते हैं या कोई वीडियो देखते हो और इमीडिएटली उस पर रिएक्ट करना चाहते हैं. So the reaction is not because you felt it. The reaction is also driven by, let me be the first one to say something. So
Sumit, each act of yours looks so effortless to us, the viewers, but I'm sure a lot of hard work goes into preparing for any role.
Yes,
What are
yes.
your go-to trick or method for getting into a character?
I mean, for this kind of a part, because he's a complete antithesis of who I am. At least I'd like to believe that. I don't think like him, and so I I consciously worked on my posture a little bit because I wanted to, look different. The way he walks, it should look like a different person and not like me. I am a pretty lanky guy. I'm a little all over the place. काफी ढीला हूँ मैं life में. But I'd seen people and I observe people in general. So I've seen some of these people. I am from Rajasthan. I have friends who are influential people who are Rajputs and who are from political lineage. So I've seen their body language and really, I stole a little bit from all of them. So it should look and sound different from who I am as a person, and that was the effort that went into it.
In this film, you have a talented bunch of co-stars,
Yeah,
especially Nawaz and Siddiqui.
जी जी.
I know you've been acting from last over 12 years, but how enriching was your experience of working with him? And do you observe your co-stars just to brush up your own craft? Do you do that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I had few scenes with Nawaz. I had more scenes with Sharif and Bhumi. And Sharif is a terrific actor. Bhumi is exceptional. But I did get to spend some time with Nawaz off shoot. क्योंकि उनका चल रहा था कुछ शूट और मैं उस समय था सेट पर. So I do see his process and how he approaches the scene and how he goes about doing the scene. And I had a great time talking to him. Generally वो कहते हैं ना, you wary to meet your heroes. I've always admired his work so much. I was a little wary of meeting him in person because I was like, I don't know, I didn't want to be disappointed. But he was better than who I thought he would be. He was so grounded. 2 minute में मैं भूल गया कि what is his body of work and how talented he is and his achievements, and I was just talking to him as an artist talking to another, and we spoke about cinema, we spoke about craft, and it was a thoroughly enriching experience and conversation I had. 2, 3 times we met and hung out. Once we hung out at his hotel room, and you know, बड़ा मजा आया उनके साथ वक्त बिताकर.
Now, you are an accomplished writer of such originals like Tripling and co-writer of Bang Baja Barat. Is there a formula, or would you please like to share tips today to write some enthralling cliffhangers?
I follow certain grammar to writing a whole thing. So when I write a series, especially, you have a complete arc of series. कि ये कहानी यहाँ से शुरू होकर यहाँ खत्म होगी. I think सबका अलग अलग होता है. But for me, the opening image and the closing image is very important. This is the opening image of the film or of the series. और यहाँ खत्म होगी. This has to be the closing image. ये जब कहानी खत्म होगी तो we'll be left with this image. This is what we walk away from. And then I start walking backwards, कि अच्छा ये मुझे पता है और ये मोटा मोटी मेरी कहानी. Now every episode has to have a certain beginning, middle, and end. I mean, you have to end on a conflict. It can't be ending on a resolve. क्योंकि अगर वो एक किस्म के रिजॉल्व पे एंड हो रहा है तो द वांट टू वॉच मोर इज लेस. बट अगर एक वो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट पे एंड हो रहा है जहाँ आपको पता नहीं कि बात अब यहाँ से कहीं भी जा सकती है, तब फिर आपका मन करेगा कि आप दूसरा देखो कि अरे कहाँ गई बात, ये क्या हुआ क्या. एंड देन यू मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट एपिसोड एंड द नेक्स्ट एंड द नेक्स्ट.
And is finding conflict is the toughest challenge for a scriptwriter?
It is. I mean, for the kind of script that I've written, it is tougher because उसमें कोई जनरली मारधाड़ नहीं हो रही है, उसमें कोई बहुत ज्यादा वायलेंस नहीं हो रहा है. तो जो जो ट्रोप्स है, जो आपके क्लचेस हैं, वो मुश्किल होता है. क्योंकि मेरी कहानियां ज्यादातर ह्यूमन रिलेशनशिप्स पे बेस्ड होती हैं, इंटरपर्सनल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स पे बेस्ड होती है, चाहे वो ट्रिपलिंग हो या लव पर स्क्वायर फुट हो या बैंक बाजा फरात हो. तो उसमें और मुश्किल हो जाता है क्योंकि आपके पास उतना कम क्या कह सकते हैं हथियार है लोगों को रोके रखने के लिए.
Like you said, Bang Baja Bara, Tripling, and Chhatri Wali, you have done many series and films. But having played so many characters, what has been the toughest moment for you as an actor?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I think every sort of project has one or two of those, I would say, scenes or moments which are, which are something that you haven't done before. Uh, let's say, for example, Tripling, when we did the first season, I had written it and I was acting in it. Not something that I'd planned for, but it so happened. So it was a learning experience for me to how to hold back and let people do their thing because I had written it, so I couldn't let anyone change anything. So I was after everyone's life कि नहीं ये ऐसा नहीं लिखा था ये ऐसा लिखा था ये ऐसा नहीं सोचा था ये ऐसा सोचा था. So I found it very hard and I think with everyone was also getting a little irritated कि अरे यार ये हर चीज में टोक दे रहा है. So I think by second, third season, I got a little easy with that you have to let people explore once you've given them the script. And even though it is not exactly what you thought it would be, but you have to let it happen. That was very tough. And I think Permanent Roommates also was very tough because I was playing a character which had very little complex in him. I didn't know many people who had no complexes. उस किस्म के लोग बहुत ज्यादा नहीं मिले हैं मुझे.
No, what I meant was like physically, like stepping into a lake or walking down a dirty street.
वो तो हाँ मतलब I would say that stuff, but that's more it's part and parcel of the job. सबसे पहला हुआ था I was doing many years ago. I was doing a TV show, and the first time I shot in the Film City Lake. This is I think 2009 or something. And I'd heard about it and I'd seen it, but I'd never gone inside the lake. It was very filthy. And we had to do the sequence where, I'm, jumping in the lake and rescuing somebody and da da da. So I was pretty much in the lake all day. And while I was in the lake, I saw a buffalo swimming and I saw somebody washing their clothes. And then after a point, I just stopped looking in that direction. मैंने कहा यार अगर वहां देखूंगा तो मैं नहीं कर पाऊंगा ये पूरा दिन मुझे इसी पानी में रहना है. It was quite tough.
Thank you so much for your time and best of luck, Sumit.
Thank you.
Thank you.